My next production is I Slept with Your Wife.
Mm-hmm.
It's on at the National Theatre on the 25th and 26th of this month. Tickets are available at the various outlets, and Winston will fill you in on all the details after I'm done.
Sure.
But the play is I Slept with Your Wife. It comes on end of this month and first weekend of July. I once visited an uncle of mine at North Kaneshi. Let me call him Uncle A. Uncle A had opened his home to me once when I was in transition and needed a roof over my head. I had gone back to say thank you to him and his dear wife. As Uncle A was seeing me off with his wife, we ran into another relative, a cousin, who lived in the neighborhood. I had not seen him in more than 10 years, and I was rather taken aback by his condition. The cousin I knew 10 years ago was very particular about his appearance and always looked good. But now, he had lost a lot of weight and looked wretched. He was drunk, very drunk. But he recognized me and immediately felt ashamed that I had seen him in that condition. I was the last person he would have wished to run into in that drunken condition. Uncle A and his wife scolded him for being drunk again and told him how much of an embarrassment he had become to them. Then they turned to me and quickly filled me in about him. They told me how he had allowed alcohol to destroy his life, his marriage, and his career. He had a good job, they told me, but his drinking had forced the company to dismiss him after several queries and warnings, and a couple of suspensions had failed to make him quit drinking.
Sad.
The more they talked about the disaster he had become, the more embarrassed my cousin became. Finally, he said to me, Kobina, I will stop drinking. Uncle A's wife said, Kobina, don't mind him. He has no intention of stopping drinking. Ask him how often my husband and I have advised him to stop drinking. My cousin said, Kobina, I really want to stop, and I promise you that someday I will. He said this like he was making a plea to me not to write him off, as the others had. I could feel his sense of shame and desperation and rejection, and it triggered something that I had buried deep within me. His condition took me back to my boyhood and to a man I loved very much. I tried to push the image from my mind and focus on my cousin. I shook his hands and embraced him and said, Cousin, I know what you are going through. I know that you hate what alcohol is doing to you. And so I want you to know that I'm rooting and praying for you. Winston, that made him burst into tears. It was tears of relief and gratitude and hope. Somehow, he had found encouragement and assurance in my words and attitude towards him. He did not see or feel contempt from me towards him. He felt that I had seen the human in him, and I had embraced him without condemning him. He dried his tears and said, Cousin, thank you. I covet your prayers very much. And then he left. He left happy and feeling lighter, but I left feeling sad and burdened. He was pleasantly surprised that I had touched him with my words. He was amazed that I seemed to understand his struggle more than anyone around him. But if he knew my story and the memory that meeting him drunk had awakened in me, he would not have been surprised. You see, the man my cousin's condition reminded me of was my own father, Mr. A.B. White. He was an alcoholic. I was old enough to see his struggles with alcohol. I knew he hated drinking, and I know how much he promised himself that he was through with it. And yet give him a day or two, and he'll be back at the Apetishi bar, drinking himself into a stupor. People who are not close to anyone struggling with any addiction think that shaming them would make them find the inner resources to kick the habit. Well, they are wrong. Nobody hates the addiction more than the person who finds himself in the grips of addiction. In my father's fight with alcoholism, addiction won. He died from alcohol cardiomyopathy. He was 63 years old. As this year's Father's Day draws near, I cannot help but think of my father. He died when I was 14, and so he has been gone for 54 years, but I have not forgotten him. He was deeply flawed as a human being, but he was also wonderful at the same time. His flaws and failings have instructed me and shaped my life. For instance, I do not drink because I saw what alcohol did to that wonderful man. I've often found myself in situations where drinking is required. Under those circumstances, it would have been easy to give in to the pressure and just go along and drink as everyone was doing. But those are also the times I remember him. Because of his calamity, I know that if I took even a sip, I might not be able to stop there. And so I refuse to put myself in a situation where I am overcome by what defeated my father. Fathers have a very bad rap in Ghana. About 4 weeks ago, I held a meeting of about 50 young people. I asked them to share with me what had held them back the most in life. And one after the other, these young people rose and said, "My father." They said, "My father was not there for me," or "My father was never in the picture," and things like that. Very few had anything good to say about their fathers. As a father myself, it bothered me very much. I could feel their pain and even bitterness at their fathers, and yet, unknowing to them, the failings of their fathers might have served them much better than they know. The point I'm making is that the failings of our fathers can and should instruct us to do better. The failings of our fathers should make us better people. And I know many young men who are great fathers today because their fathers failed them. Because they heard from the fact that their fathers were never there for them, they have resolved to be there for their children. And they have become excellent fathers now, all because they have allowed their fathers' failings to instruct them. I'm sorry for anyone who feels let down by their fathers. I wish everyone would experience the love of a father, because no love beats that. If I had the power to change anything, I would use it to let every person experience the love of a father. But I don't have that power. So all I can say as Father's Day draws near is, if you have anything against your father, please forgive him. Learn from his failings and let them make you a much better person and not a bitter person. And this is my food for thought today. For more of my thoughts, please follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Uncle Ebo White, and on Instagram at the Uncle Ebo White. On Thursday, God willing, I'll share with you how my father became alcoholic. But for today, I just want to repeat: let go of your bitterness against your father, and let his failings and flaws make you a better person. And Winston, that is my presentation.
Thank you so much, Uncle Ebo. And I know you've spoken to a lot of people. There are many people who can relate, to what you have said. In one way or the other. This is indeed food for thought. But Samuel Dame says his birthday was yesterday. So he'll be waiting for his birthday gift from you. I've asked him to speak into the microphone, but he's running away.
As he always does. But Sammy, as a father figure in your life, I pray blessings upon your life. And I pray that this will be your best year yet. And that everything you touch will become a blessing. I am proud of you, Sammy. You're a good man.
Amen. Uncle, David Max Fuga says he's one of those who went to South Suntresu. because of you. He went to visit the place.
Max! It's a long time. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Oh, he's around. He sent me a message to say that, I went to South Suntreso. I'm one of those who went to South Suntreso. So, a lot of people like that. Anyway, thank you very much, Uncle White, for
You're welcome.
joining us with food for thought, and have a fantastic day and a week. Also, time now for the Joy Business Minute, brought to us by Consolidated Bank Ghana CBG. We stand with you.
Hello, welcome to the Joy Business Minute. It is brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you. Government finally sold a little about